The quiet danger on our plates. At 73, Richard still cooked dinner every evening. He liked the smell of onions sizzling in the pan. He enjoyed the quiet of chopping vegetables, and most of all, he cherished that moment at the table when everything was done, the plate was warm, and the house was still. But one evening, while preparing his usual meal, sausages, mashed potatoes, and a glass of wine, he paused. His hand hovered over the package of meat, and for the first time in decades, he didn't open it. A week before, his doctor had called. The tone was serious. The scan had shown inflammation in his colon. Nothing alarming yet, but something they'd need to watch. That night, Richard couldn't sleep. He lay in bed thinking about his meals, what he ate, how often he cooked with butter, how many years he'd chosen sausage over salad. He remembered the beers at barbecues, the sugar in his coffee, the bag of crackers he kept near the TV. It wasn't one thing, it was everything. And it had all felt harmless. Why this conversation matters now. As we age, our bodies become more fragile. Our immune systems slow. Our ability to detox weakens. And the tiny choices we make each day, what we eat, what we drink, start to leave bigger footprints on our health. For many older adults, cancer doesn't arrive like a lightning bolt. It comes like water on stone, quietly, over time. And often, our diets are the river that shapes the stone. Richard wasn't alone. Millions of older adults continue to eat foods that science has now linked to increased cancer risk. Not out of neglect, but out of routine, habit, and a lack of clear, caring guidance. That's what this story is about. Not fear, not guilt, but gentle awareness. A new kind of strength. We've all been taught that food is joy, connection, culture, and it is. But food is also information. It speaks to ourselves, and some foods whisper healing, while others slowly build the conditions for disease. This guide isn't about telling you to throw away every tradition. It's about knowing which ones to keep, which ones to change, and why it matters now more than ever. In the chapters ahead, we'll explore 7 everyday foods and drinks that can raise cancer risk for seniors, not with judgment, but with kindness and facts. And we'll offer better choices, simple swaps that protect not just your body, but your peace of mind. Because at this age, health isn't just about living longer, it's about living better. Richard made a decision that night. He put the sausage back in the fridge, and he made a bowl of soup with lentils, carrots, and brown rice. It was warm, it was quiet, and it was the beginning of something new. Chapter 1. Processed Meats, When Convenience Hides a Threat. Margaret was 76 when her grandson taught her how to use a microwave. "It's easy, Grandma," he smiled. "You just press the picture of the food." He handed her a plastic tray. Mashed potatoes, peas, and 2 thick slices of ham. It was a simple meal, cheap, fast, and comforting. She added a few slices of salami, poured herself a glass of orange juice, and called it dinner. The hidden risk. Processed meats, like bacon, ham, salami, hot dogs, and sausages, are in kitchens all over the world. They're convenient, flavorful, and often a nostalgic part of family recipes. But what many seniors don't realize is that these meats contain nitrites and nitrates, chemical preservatives used to enhance color, preserve shelf life, and improve taste. When digested, these preservatives can turn into nitrosamines, compounds classified as carcinogens by the World Health Organization. Nitrosamines can damage the cells lining the digestive tract, especially in the colon, leading to inflammation, mutations, and over time, cancer. Why seniors are more vulnerable. Margaret didn't think twice about eating cold cuts. "I've been eating ham sandwiches since I was 10, she told her doctor. But here's the truth. Age changes everything. As we grow older, our liver function declines, our immune system weakens, and our ability to repair cellular damage slows down. That means carcinogens have more time to linger and do harm. For a younger person, the body might bounce back. For someone over 60, that same exposure becomes more dangerous. What the studies say. The data is clear. Eating 50 grams of processed meat per day, about 2 slices of bacon, increases the risk of colorectal cancer by 18%. Long-term consumption of processed meats has also been linked to stomach cancer, pancreatic cancer, and even breast cancer. These risks increase when combined with alcohol or low-fiber diets. And yet, processed meats remain a staple in many senior diets, not out of preference, but out of ease. Margaret's turning point. One morning, Margaret felt an ache in her side. At first, she thought it was gas. By afternoon, it hadn't gone away. Her doctor ran tests. There were signs of inflammation in her colon, not cancer, but a warning. She sat at her kitchen table that night and stared at her fridge. Deli meat, hot dogs, bacon, the foods she thought were harmless, but now they felt like strangers. Small changes, big rewards. Margaret didn't throw everything away overnight. She started with one change: no more cold cuts. Instead, she cooked chicken breast on Sundays and sliced it thin for sandwiches. She replaced bacon with avocado toast. She started making vegetable soup with lentils for protein. By the end of the month, she noticed more than just physical improvements. She felt proud of taking control, proud of showing her grandson that grandma could still change. Better choices for healthy aging. If you or someone you love is still eating processed meats regularly, consider these gentle changes. Choose fresh cuts of meat like baked chicken, turkey, or fish. Add plant-based proteins like beans, tofu, or lentils to your meals. Make sandwiches with hummus, roasted vegetables, or boiled eggs instead of cold cuts. Experiment with herbs and spices to bring flavor without relying on salt or preservatives. You don't need to give up flavor. You just need to change where you find it. A final note from Margaret. Months after her health scare, Margaret wrote a note and taped it to her fridge. I didn't stop eating bacon because I was afraid. I stopped because I wanted to feel good when I wake up tomorrow. She still enjoys comfort food, but now her comfort is confidence, knowing that what she puts on her plate is helping her stay strong. Chapter 2. Red meat when flavor comes at a cost. For years, Harold believed that dinner wasn't complete without a good piece of meat. He grew up in a home where Sundays meant roast beef and holidays always came with ham or lamb. Even after retirement, he found comfort in routine: beef stew in winter, pork chops in summer. But now at 71, Harold began to notice changes. He was more tired after meals. He felt heavier. A routine checkup revealed early signs of inflammation in his digestive tract. His doctor looked at his diet. "You don't have to give up red meat entirely," she said gently. But the truth is, too much of it, especially processed or grilled at high heat, has been linked to several cancers. The link between red meat and cancer. Studies over the past 2 decades have consistently shown a connection between high red meat consumption and cancers, such as colorectal cancer, prostate cancer, especially in men over 60, breast cancer when red meat is eaten frequently, especially when charred or well done. The problem lies not just in the meat itself, but how it's cooked. High-temperature methods like grilling and pan-frying can produce heterocyclic amines, HCs, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PH, chemical compounds known to damage DNA. And when red meat is eaten in large quantities over time, it increases inflammation and strain on the gut, especially in aging digestive systems. What makes red meat risky for seniors? Slower digestion in older adults means carcinogens may linger longer in the colon. Weaker immune systems are less able to repair damaged cells. And many seniors consume fewer fiber-rich foods that help eliminate toxins. All these factors make red meat a bigger threat after 60 than it may have been at 30 or 40. Harold's new habit. Harold didn't become vegetarian, but he did make a promise to himself: no red meat more than once a week. He swapped beef burgers for turkey patties. Instead of pork roast, he learned how to make herbed salmon. He fell in love with lentil shepherd's pie and even tried tofu stir-fry just once. He's still working on that one. "I'm not giving anything up," he told his neighbor. "I'm gaining energy and peace of mind." Smarter swaps for everyday meals. If red meat is still part of your diet, here are simple ways to reduce the risks. Limit red meat to once or twice a week. Choose leaner cuts like sirloin or tenderloin. Bake or steam instead of grilling or frying. Fill half your plate with vegetables and whole grains. They help counteract harmful compounds. Try one meatless day per week. Make it fun, not a punishment. Harold still enjoys a grilled steak every now and then, but he no longer lets it be the center of his plate or his health. He once said, "I used to eat like I was feeding a furnace. Now I eat like I'm tending a garden." That shift changed everything. Chapter 3. Fried Foods, the crispy trap that ages you from within. Eleanor always said her favorite comfort food was a plate of golden, crispy fries. "I know it's not the healthiest," she'd laugh, "but at my age I deserve a little joy." And while joy is essential at any age, so is truth. And the truth is, fried foods are far more harmful to seniors than they seem on the surface. What really happens when you fry? When food is fried at high temperatures, it undergoes chemical changes that create toxic compounds, including acrylamide linked to cancers of the kidneys, ovaries, and endometrium. Heterocyclic amines, HCAs, and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, PAHs, formed when meat is cooked at high heat and known to damage DNA. The oils used in deep frying, especially when reused, can also oxidize, releasing harmful free radicals that promote inflammation and cell mutation. Why seniors are at greater risk. As we age, digestive enzymes decrease, making heavy, greasy foods harder to break down. Detoxification slows, so harmful compounds linger longer in the body. Inflammation increases naturally with age, and fried foods make it worse. Eleanor didn't know any of this until she began having frequent indigestion, fatigue, and a burning sensation after eating. Her doctor explained how her twice-weekly fried chicken habit might be doing more harm than she realized. A moment of change. One day, Eleanor looked at her lunch, crispy wings, soda, and chips, and pushed it aside. She went to the kitchen, roasted some sweet potatoes, and tossed a salad with olive oil and lemon. It wasn't the same crunch, but it felt lighter, cleaner, kinder. And over time, that felt better than fried ever tasted. Gentle alternatives to fried favorites. You don't need to give up all your favorite textures and flavors. Just shift the method. Use an air fryer for a crispy finish without deep oil. Bake breaded items at high heat for a similar crunch. Try roasting veggies like carrots, cauliflower, and sweet potatoes until golden. Choose olive oil or avocado oil for sautéing instead of deep frying. These changes still satisfy cravings, but without feeding the fire of disease. From craving to consciousness. "I still eat fries," Eleanor says now, "but just a few, from the oven, with herbs and sea salt." She doesn't miss the old happiness. She cherishes the lightness she's found. Because sometimes, the greatest joy comes from taking care of yourself with love, even on your plate. Chapter 4. Alcohol, a small glass, a silent risk. For decades, Roger enjoyed his evening ritual, a small glass of red wine with dinner. It helped him relax, sleep, and reminded him of time shared with his late wife. "It's just one glass," he'd say with a smile. But sometimes it was 2, sometimes 3. And in those quiet sips, Roger never imagined he could be quietly raising his cancer risk, especially in his 70s. The hidden costs of alcohol in older adults. While moderate drinking might seem harmless, studies now show even small amounts of alcohol can increase the risk of cancer, particularly in people over 60. Why? Because aging bodies metabolize alcohol more slowly, leading to longer exposure. Have weakened liver function, making it harder to detox harmful byproducts. Are more vulnerable to cellular damage, especially in the mouth, throat, liver, colon, and breast tissues. Alcohol converts into acetaldehyde, a toxic compound that damages DNA and impairs the body's natural repair systems. Over time, this can trigger mutations that lead to cancer. Types of cancer linked to alcohol use. The World Health Organization has classified alcohol as a Group 1 carcinogen, the same category as tobacco and asbestos. Even moderate drinking increases the risk of mouth and throat cancer, esophageal cancer, liver cancer, colorectal cancer, breast cancer in women. And when alcohol is combined with processed meats or smoking, the risk multiplies. Roger's wake-up call. It wasn't a diagnosis that changed Roger, it was his energy. He noticed his sleep wasn't as restful, his digestion was slower. His doctor mentioned that alcohol, even in moderation, could be contributing to his discomfort, and possibly worse. So Roger did something brave. He stopped, not forever, but for 30 days. He replaced wine with herbal tea. He focused on hydration, better sleep, and lighter meals. After a month, his thinking was clearer, his belly felt lighter, and most surprisingly, he didn't miss the wine as much as he thought he would. Healthier habits to replace the glass. If you or someone you love enjoys a drink in the evening, here are safer, heart and cancer-friendly alternatives. Sparkling water with a slice of citrus. Chamomile or rooibos tea calms nerves and supports digestion. Warm lemon water with honey. Diluted fruit juice with mint or cucumber. Cocktails made with fresh herbs, berries, or ginger. These aren't punishments. They're new pleasures. Gentler, nourishing, and often more refreshing. Mindful drinking if you do choose to. If giving up alcohol entirely isn't right for you, consider these guidelines. Limit to 1 drink per day or fewer. Avoid pairing with smoked, grilled, or processed meats. Choose red wine over hard liquor, in small amounts. Never drink on an empty stomach. Stay hydrated before and after. Remember, it's not about guilt, it's about taking control of what you can and protecting the years ahead. Roger still keeps a bottle of wine in the cupboard, but he drinks it only on special occasions. I didn't stop drinking because I was scared, he says. I stopped because I wanted to feel stronger, longer. And that's exactly what he's doing. Chapter 5. Sugary Foods, the Sweet Trap That Weakens You. Doris had always had a sweet tooth. Cookies with her tea, a slice of cake after Sunday dinner, a small bowl of ice cream before bed. They're just little pleasures, she'd say. What harm could a cookie do? But after turning 73, those little pleasures became something more serious. Her doctor warned her, elevated blood sugar, increased belly fat, and a higher risk for heart issues. But what truly caught her attention was the word cancer. Sugar and the cancer connection. While sugar doesn't directly cause cancer, excess sugar creates the perfect environment for it to grow. Here's why. High sugar intake contributes to obesity, which is a major risk factor for several cancers, including breast, colon, and pancreatic. It promotes chronic inflammation, a condition that damages cells and weakens the immune system. It fuels insulin resistance, which can lead to type 2 diabetes and increase cancer risk. The more often your blood sugar spikes, the more stress your body endures, and the less protection you have. What to watch out for? It's not just cookies and cake. Sugar hides in many everyday foods. Sweetened yogurts, fruit juices, cereal and granola, packaged breads and sauces, soda and flavored drinks. Many older adults don't realize they're consuming more sugar than recommended. For seniors, the daily added sugar limit should be no more than 25 grams, about 6 teaspoons. 1 can of soda has nearly 40 grams. Doris's shift. Doris didn't cut sugar out completely. Instead, she got smart. She swapped ice cream for frozen bananas blended with cinnamon. She chose dark chocolate instead of milk chocolate. She flavored her oatmeal with fresh berries, not brown sugar. And within weeks, she felt better. Her energy lifted, her digestion improved, and her cravings slowly faded. Sweet alternatives that protect your health. Here are gentle ways to keep sweetness in your life without the risk. Fresh fruit, nature's candy, filled with fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants. Stevia or monk fruit, natural, no-calorie sweeteners that don't spike blood sugar. Cinnamon and vanilla, add warmth and flavor without sugar. Homemade desserts, use less sugar, more whole ingredients. The goal isn't to deny yourself, it's to nourish yourself differently. A gentle reminder. As Doris now says, I didn't lose sweetness in my life, I just changed where I find it. And in doing so, she gained something better, balance energy, and peace of mind. Chapter 6. Spoiled and fermented foods. When flavor turns against you. Mr. Allen was proud of his thrifty habits. Even when food looked a little past its prime, he'd say, "Don't waste it. It's still good." He also enjoyed pickled vegetables, homemade fermented eggplants, and a bit of salted fish on occasion. But at 75, things changed. After days of nausea and stomach pain, Allen ended up in the hospital. The cause? Contaminated fermented food combined with moldy leftovers in his fridge. When just a little spoiled becomes dangerous. For younger adults, a slight case of food spoilage might pass unnoticed, but in seniors, the risks are much greater. As we age, our immune system weakens. Our digestive system slows. Our liver and kidneys filter toxins less efficiently. These changes make us more vulnerable to foodborne illnesses and carcinogenic compounds that may come from spoiled or fermented food. The risk of moldy food, aflatoxins. When food becomes moldy, especially grains, nuts, and leftovers stored too long, it can contain aflatoxins. These are highly carcinogenic toxins known to increase the risk of liver cancer, particularly in those with compromised liver function or hepatitis. Even small amounts of aflatoxins, over time, can accumulate and damage healthy cells. Fermented and pickled foods, a double-edged sword. Some fermented foods offer health benefits, but others, especially heavily salted or improperly prepared ones, pose hidden dangers. They often contain nitrates and nitrites, which can convert into nitrosamines, compounds linked to stomach cancer. Long-term consumption of highly salty pickles can increase gastric inflammation and raise blood pressure. Improper fermentation can result in bacterial overgrowth, which stresses the gut. A traditional jar of pickled mustard greens may taste comforting, but eaten daily, it could quietly harm your stomach lining. Allen's turning point. After his health scare, Allen made some changes. He started labeling leftovers with dates. He stopped eating anything moldy, no matter how small the spot. He limited fermented foods to once or twice per week and added fresh greens instead. He listened to his body more and respected its limits. "I still enjoy strong flavors," he says, "but now I enjoy them wisely." Simple safety tips for seniors. To avoid the hidden risks of spoiled and overly fermented foods. Never eat moldy food, even if the mold is cut off. Store leftovers for no more than 3-4 days in the fridge. Choose lightly pickled items with minimal salt. Avoid fermented foods with unknown origins or stored too long. Drink plenty of water to support digestion and toxin elimination. Remember, prevention is much easier and kinder than treatment. Allen still enjoys a small plate of pickled radish now and then, but he pairs it with steamed greens, fresh fruit, and the wisdom of experience. He no longer says, "It's still good." He now says, "If it's not good for my health, it's not good enough for me." Final thoughts, when wisdom becomes the best ingredient. If there's one truth we've uncovered, it's this. A long life isn't just about what we eat, it's about what we choose not to. As we grow older, the body becomes more delicate, more responsive, and more deserving of care. Every meal becomes more than just nourishment. It becomes a message we send to our future self. We've walked through 7 categories of foods and drinks that, while once harmless, now carry hidden dangers. Processed meats that taste familiar but may quietly harm. Red meats that once symbolized strength but now ask for balance. Fried foods that tempt but age us from within. Alcohol that comforts but clouds. Sugar that sweetens but weakens. Moldy and spoiled foods that we ignore until they don't let us. Pickled and fermented foods that carry history, but sometimes too much salt and risk. These aren't restrictions meant to take joy away from your plate. They are gentle redirections, a way to bring more intention, more protection, and more love into your everyday choices. You are not too old to choose wisely. Maybe you've eaten a certain way for decades. Maybe you've grown up believing a little won't hurt. But now you know better. And that means you get to do better. Without guilt, without pressure, just small steps. A swap here, a pause there. A question, Is this food loving me back? Your health is still yours to shape. Whether you're 60, 70, 80, or beyond, you're still writing your story. And food is one of your greatest tools. So choose well, eat fresh, respect your body's changes, and most of all, honor yourself with every bite. Thank you for being here today. If this message brought you clarity or comfort, we'd love to hear from you. Leave a comment below. What did you learn? What will you change? Your voice might help someone else on their journey too. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone you care about. Until next time, stay informed, stay kind to your body, and stay with us for more stories that inspire strength at every age. See you in the next video.